everybody. This weekend I have been joined by the father and son team of John and Alex, a pair of petrolheads that have brought me a couple of toys to play with. Very kind of them. And the last video I went out with the son Alex's Ford Racing Puma, a lesser spotted and quite interesting example of British motoring joy, despite being made in Germany. This is his dad's weekend wheels, a 2005 TVR Sagaris. I've not driven one of these, but I've wanted to for an awfully long time. The Sagaris is a very special car, and whether the new TVR are actually going to manage to produce a car or not remains to be seen. However, if they do, it won't be coming out of the factory gates at Blackpool, so this car's place in history as the finest Trevor to ever come out of the original location is assured. But what is a Sagaris for those who don't remember it? Well, the TVR lineup back then was pretty confusing. You had the Tamora, which was a two-seater, straight six-powered convertible. Then you had the T350C, which was a two-seater, straight six-powered coupe. A T350T, which was a straight six, two-seater targa top car. You had the Tuscan, which was a two-seater, straight six targa top car that then became a two-seater, straight six convertible. The Sagaris was the top of the tree. It was powered by a 4-litre version of TVR's very own Speed 6, produced 400 odd horsepower, 350 pound-foot of torque, cost over £50,000 and looked absolutely bananas. Famously called the Axe Murderer car. And even 15 years on, it still looks completely balmy. I love it. But what's it really like to drive? Well, like every single TVR that I've driven, it's not what you would expect. You'd think that these would be big hero cars that you need bulging biceps to be able to control. But in fact, the opposite is true. They're really quite delicate. The steering is very light and feelsome. Gear shift, wonderful, direct, genuine joy to use. The throttle, incredibly responsive and has that famous long pedal travel to make sure that you don't get things wrong, because although people were supposed to have traction control, airbags, ABS and all that jazz, TVR claimed they never quite got that memo. So this vehicle has none of those. That means that it's relatively light, just over a ton and a bit, and so it's not slow, and it is a huge amount of fun to drive. As is that, whatever the hell it was. Obviously a 911 of some sort, but they were having fun. Despite its generous 4 litres of swept capacity, this straight six really does need revs to get the very best from it. And you can certainly feel that underneath this relatively refined chassis, and I say relatively because we have to judge it by TVR standards, you can still feel that it wants to twitch and move. And it has a front end that is much sharper than the rear, but you do get into a groove with it. It talks to you enough that, like all the other Trevors I've driven, it's never scary, but it is very involving. Amazingly, this particular car is actually on its standard exhaust, and I do apologise if you can't hear me all that well, but the air conditioning is cool but not especially effective, so window down is the best way to try and stay sane in here. You have to feel very sorry for Nikolai Smolensky, who was the gentleman that took over TVR from its famed owner Peter Wheeler. The one story I heard that I can believe, even though I'm not sure it's true, is that when Nikolai moved into the factory, he found a bill for rent. He was understandably confused why he was being billed for rent on a factory which he owned, only to find out that Peter Wheeler had indeed sold him the factory, but not the land it was on. It's certainly not slow, this car. And as driver's cars go, it's really up there. The car is quite practical. There's not a lot of room in the cabin, but there's a fair bit in the boot. So if you want to do touring, it's not a bad car for that. Of course, I asked its owner how reliable it's been, and he said that there have been a few breakdowns, but never anything too serious. I think he's only been stranded a couple of times. Given the fact that he's owned it for 14 years, that's not too bad, I think. This car was supposed to be the most refined product that TVR had ever created, and having driven a few others, I think it is. It does really feel like a fairly well put together car by TVR standards, which is to say that things are still a little bit ropey around the edges, but nothing's fallen off yet. The dash layout is also unnecessarily confusing and makes getting an idea of your speed or revs when you're not familiar with the car harder than it should be. Prices of Sagaris are all over the shop. When they were brand new, they're about £50,000. They then dropped pretty sharply, especially when TVR then went bust and people realised that their warranties were good for nothing. However, prices then went back up after a little while when people realised that TVR had gone bust and this was going to be the last of its line. Around 200 Sagaris were made, and although it isn't technically the very last TVR or even TVR model, it's the last one made in any real numbers. There are a few sort of near prototypes kicking around, the T440 and Typhon, stuff like that, but if you want to buy a car that, you know, people have actually heard of, this is the one. I always thought it was a shame that that roof, which if you've noticed is bigger on one side than the other, never came off. It's something I always liked about TVRs. In fact, they were target tops, why Tuscan was always my favourite. This is not my favourite colour for a TVR either. It's called Spectra Flare Silver and certainly does look very nice, but is nowhere near as totally bonkers as many other TVR colours. Actually pretty well damped. It's still fairly firm, but it suits this car's nature quite well. You want something of it to have a bit of a hard edge, right? Although I know that these cars have a reputation for being a bit bitey, I've never really actually been terrified at the wheel of one, mostly because I think they're talkative enough that I know when I've reached their limit, he says, before he flies back first into a hedge on fire. Those side-firing exhausts actually sound pretty good too, even with the standard pipes on. And it's almost impossible to find a TVR with standard exhaust these days, but actually, I kind of like it. A Sagaris, and let's be honest here, any TVR is going to be a car that you need to love. You just have to. There are too many flaws, there are too many bits that don't quite fit together well enough, or a bit rough around the edges, or a bit dodgy, for it to be a car that you have to just decide you like and then hope you're going to fall in love with, because it's unlikely to happen. But if what you're after is a mad-looking, great driving car, TVRs have never really let me down in that department, and the Sagaris is no exception. I've driven a lot of cars that have great stories behind them and look and sound amazing, but when it comes to the driving experience, they always kind of let you down. And that's fine. There's a place in the world for cars like that. But TVRs have just always been a lot better to drive than I think most people would ever give them credit for. I really like them. And I really like the Sagaris. At one point in time, people were asking up to £100,000 for them, and I wouldn't pay that. For 50 or 60 grand? You could do worse. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment below, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you all for the next one. Bye-bye.